Hey guys, this is PseudoAuto again, coming at you with another StarCraft 2 commentary. And it's going to be another PvP, but this time I'm going to do it slightly different. This was the first game I played in after the 1.1 patch, and I thought it was a pretty damn good game. As I mentioned before, it was a PvP. And I'm going to do it differently, as in I'm going to do this from a first-person perspective. So I'm going to see how this goes. If it doesn't work out, then I'll never do this again. But maybe it won't be quite so bad. So, for those of you whining about the PvP, another one, there's a simple solution to this problem. Send in your replays, and I will cast them, or I will get Blur to cast them. And, yeah, it will be casted, and you won't have to see any more PvP from this channel ever again, as long as you don't send it in. But if you don't send it in, I will be forced to use my own replays, and somehow they all end up being PvP. So anyway, I'm sending, well, that's not true at all, but I don't know, I like PvP. So here I am, PseudoAuto, of course. I send out my scout, and as you can see there, I spotted my opponent, whose name I should probably check, Versick. Is a blue Protoss. I saw his probe coming from this way, so I thought at first it was a late scout, but then so I went here, and then I'm going to go over here next, because I thought, okay, probably next most likely thing is, he came from there. From the cross map position, just went in a circle, which most people do, sending my probe after his, take it out, putting down my simulator. Fairly standard time was 12 gates, and then a simulator, and then next pylon, or maybe, no, it was 13 gate, my bad. 13 gate assimilator, and then pylon. And, okay, speaking of pylons, Versick putting down a pylon in my base here, and so he's going to try and do some sort of warp gate rush to me. Putting down another pylon. I absolutely hate people who do this, but what you got to do is you basically take your probes and you put them up in groups of 4 or so. In this case, I didn't want to put that many, obviously. So groups of 3 would be enough, and then pump out your zealot as fast as you can and target the closest pylon. You want to take them out as quickly as possible. The goal is to take it out as quickly as possible, ultimately, because you got to realize your opponent, if they don't cancel the pylon, they are wasting 100 minerals each time. So even, yes, you'll lose that mining time, but they're losing the APM, all the money, and, basically they won't be building any other sort of tech or troops or anything. So they're going to be at a disadvantage. First zealot is out for me, so I'm going to be slowly taking down all his pylons, putting up another one. I really think this guy should stop here right now. Now we can see my scout in his base. He doesn't even have a gateway. What is this? He has a forge. And, probably going to be putting down, he will put down a cannon later, but honestly, you don't do this like that. You would want to put the pylon like here, and then wait until you have warp gate tech, and then bam, you pop in, and you have all your zealots and crap and whatnot running into your opponent's base, and can't do anything about it. So there's the cannon going down. I believe I do lose this probe to that cannon. But anyway, yeah. So taking that out. So at this point, one could say this would be its time to push. But the fact is, he's putting up cannons, so he'll probably put up another one soon. And when he does that, a couple zealots aren't going to be enough. So I decided just to work on my economy, because I know his economy is about as screwed as mine. I do put up a proxy pylon here, which I intend to try and do exactly what he did to me back at him. Because bit of vengeance there. One thing I don't like about this, well, I guess it's kind of, no, actually it's not. You can see here that you can put a pylon here, like in this side, and it will be pretty much invisible to your opponent. On the other side, you can only put them in this spot, which is pretty easy to scout here. I mean, it's less likely someone's going to scout here than, here. Most people probably do scout here. But, okay. And I don't know why I chose an SCV here. But anyway, did it always do that? I don't know. But anyway, I'm sending out a guy to try and take the Zelnaga Watchtower. I'm putting up my Cybernetics Core, got a couple zealots. I'm going to start working on these destructible rocks, so I can start working on getting my expansion out, because at this point he's going to be worried about an attack, so he's going to be putting up cannons, working on his own troopage, possibly tech, because as I mentioned in the last video, which I hope I put these up in the right order, because otherwise people are going to be like, oh, you didn't talk about that. But anyway, in the last video I did with Splink and whoever the other guy was, Frozen Steam, I mentioned, there's a lot of one base play in PvP, which is definitely true. That's how it works, but, it's considering he lost many resources and so much time trying to do what he did, I can afford to go ahead and try and take my expansion now. I am working on Warp Gate Tech because I still want to try and do this counterattack here, which is which is why I'm not focusing too much on troops. I think I just have the Stalker and these two Zealots because I know he won't be attacking me anytime soon. He lost way too much from that last attack. I'm putting up the Twilight Council now because I plan to go Blink as well. Since I at this point I was thinking of still doing earlier damage once I got my expansion up. Basically going out for the push sometime after the economy kicked in. Still currently boosting out my Warp Gate, and I do see he has a pylon here. Which was for, I just assumed it was for scouting purposes, and it basically turns out to be what it was. It was, I guess, potential setup for the gold here, but anyway, that's not what I was thinking of right then. So yeah. Anyway, so I have my 3 gateways up. I got my Twilight Council. I can really afford to put up another gateway right about now. And it looks like, I'm going to start warping guys in anyway right here, which was a really bad idea. If anything, I should have warped in Stalkers at least. I warped in 3 Zealots here. You can see, so I'm going to do some damage to these Stalkers, but he can just micro them away, and it won't make any difference in the end. Plus, he's got the cannon, and then I keep up this attack, which I really should not have done. I should have, if nothing else, again, I should have gone for the Stalkers, but, he has these cannons up, although this does show my point that he was devoting so much to defense, he was so concerned about being counterattacked that he committed so much money to these cannons, which cannons, they're definitely good defensive units, but they are not cheap. I guess 150 isn't much, but, considering, they only have, what is it, I can't check right now, but basically, you don't want to be losing them left and right. They are static defenses. They can only sit there, and they can't do anything for you other than, defend right where they are. So I am putting up the Robo Bay, and this is mainly to get the Observer out, so I can do my Blink Stalker, as you can see, getting a bunch of Stalkers, just 1 sentry, so I can block off, try to block off part of this ramp at least, because of course 1 sentry shield will not block off this entire thing. I really like the new little pictures they got down here for all the abilities. It's pretty cool. Has like the colorings and whatnot. Pretty darn sweet. Yeah. Anyway, and Chrono Boost looks cool again. It looked cool in the beta as well, I think. No. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so my expansion's about to go up. I got another gateway going up. So at this point, I'm just sticking with my idea. I'm going to go for Blink Stalker. I'm going to get out an Observer. I'm going to put it, like right here. Though what I just do here, first of all, I rally it here, and then I decide to rally here. I want to see if he has an expansion, because even if he has an expansion, I can bring my Observer right here, and then bring my Stalkers up onto here. My expansion is done, and is in good old PseudoAuto fashion. I am not doing anything with it for the next few minutes. And it looks like I do lose this Delnaga Tower to this probe, and I just counterattack, and then I put down the pylon, and this is to try and take out the probe, and also because I know I'm planning to attack soon, so I figured might as well put up my proxy pylon right